Human beings, like parts of the body, are from the same essence. One part in pain, others cannot remain in harmony. With no feeling of sorrow for others' suffering, thou cannot be called a human being. One of the most powerful energy healers of his time, Grandmaster Hadi Parvarandeh, crossed the boundaries of science and reached the ancient wisdom of energy healing.
I was just at the age of 16 while we had a neighbor. This neighbor came to me and asked me to go along with her to a hospital to visit a patient. I thought this is for some kind of protection. Well, we went to that hospital and we visited that patient. After a few days, again she came and asked me, let's go to that hospital. I refused and I said that, no, I won't come. There is no reason that I go to that hospital and visit the patient because she is not a member of my family, she is not a friend of mine, and I don't know her. What's the reason and why should I go there? That neighbor told me that because every time that you go to that hospital and you visit that patient, she feels better. It was at that time that I was aware that there is something on me, or in my body, or in my mind, that I can be helpful for people.
Actually, in 1972, I had met a healer, Olga Worrell, and I wanted to collect 25 cases of miraculous healing by spiritual healing. And unfortunately, 100 physicians refused to give me the medical records, even though I had the patient's permission. So, very fortunately, a friend of mine introduced me to Ustad Hadi Parvarandeh in the fall of 1994. And she said, this is a grand healer. In the spring of 1995, he came to visit me in Springfield, Missouri. He brought with him 100 cases, medical, documented cures of a wide variety of diseases, from malignant brain tumors to sarcoma, etc. And this was the most phenomenal pile of evidence on the benefits of spiritual healing that I've ever seen. I don't know anybody who's collected 100 cases of proven, documented medical records.
Born in Tehran, Iran, in May of 1926, Grandmaster Hadi Parvarandeh finished his high school studies in the city of Isfahan and later studied at Tehran University, majoring in French literature.
در سالی که با آقای پرونده آشنا شدم در انجمن ایران آمریکا بود که من اونجا درس انگلیسی میخوندم و ایشون هم رئیس اون انجمن بودن. در این گیرودار ایشون از پدرم خواستگاری کرده بود ولی من خبر نداشتم.
یک روزی به من در ستاد لشکر اطلاع دادن که یک آقایی به نام پرورنده با شما کار دیدنتون. من گفتم بفرمایید تو. آمدن یه آقایی در حدود 32 ساله به نظر می رسیدن. نشستند و صحبت کردند و از این ور اون ور. بالاخره با خجالت معلوم شد که ایشون آمدن برای خواستگاری دختر من. گفتم خب چون من شما رو برای اولین مرتبه می بینم نیست که الان نمیتونم به شما جواب بدم. البته چند روز دیگه تشریف بیارید منزل ما و من جواب شما را خواهم داد.
تحقیقاتی که پدر من کرد از رئیسش رفته بود پرسیده بود که تحصیلاتش چیه، فقط راجع به تحصیلاتش و خانواده‌اش پرسیده بود. اونم خیلی تعریف کرده بود ازش و خب پدرم نقاط مثبتی رو پیدا کرده بود.
The couple was married soon after, and within a few years they had 2 sons.
بعد از 3 سال ازدواج به ایشون یه مأموریت خارج دادن، معاون رایزنی کشورهای بالکان که شامل ترکیه، یونان، یوگسلاوی، بلغارستان میشد. بعد از برگشت به ایران مأمور وزارت فرهنگ و هنر بود، در اونجا شروع به کار کرد و مأموریت اهواز بهش دادن. بعد که مأموریتش تموم شد، مأموریت باز ترکیه رو دادن، این دفعه رایزن فرهنگی ترکیه. اونجا حدود 3 سال طول کشید. در این 3 سال ایشون با یک پروفسور زبان فرانسه بود، با ایشون آشنا شد. بعد از صحبت‌های زیاد که بهش گفت چقدر فرانسه خوب می‌دونی و اینا، تصمیم گرفت که دکتراشو بگیره. همونجا شروع کرد به گرفتن دکترا، شروع کرد خودشو آماده بکنه برای گذراندن تزش که یه مقدار زیادی در استراسبورگ بود که برای مطالعه، چون اونجا کتابای فراوانی داشت.
I went to Strasbourg University for continuing my study. I had no activities over there, and after coming back to Iran, again I began to do my healing.
کم کم منم در جریان گذاشت و یواش یواش با همدیگه هی رفتیم جلو تا مریضا دونه دونه فهمیدن، مریضا زیاد شدن.
His reputation growing, people started to line up outside the clinic as early as 3 in the morning.
بعد که خیلی شلوغ شد مجبور شدیم که هر کی میاد وقت بگیره بیاد، اینطوری که هی همه بیان دم در شلوغ بکنن نمیشه. دیگه مأمور اجرای وقت دادن من شدم، دیگه وقت میدادم، مریضا دونه دونه می اومدن. به هر صورت موقعی شد که دیگه واقعا قابل کنترل این مریضا نبود. بعضی موقع مریضا حال خیلی بد می اومدن، رخت خواب می‌افتادن، توی خیابون می‌خوابیدن، بعضیشون حالشون بد میشد. خیلی اسفناک بود. اوایل من اصلا باور نمی‌کردم. هر چی میگفت این خوب شده من باور نمی‌کردم. خیلی برای من سخت بود، چون اصلا هیچ کس خبر نداشت که یه همچین موضوعی هست، وارد نبود هیچ کس. منم از اونایی بودم که دلم می‌خواست عمیق ببینم این واقعا چی میگه. هر چی میگفت همش میرفتم به مریضم یواشکی میپرسیدم که راستی حالتون خوب شد؟ هی اینا میگفتن آره به خدا، هی قسم آیه، ولی من روی اون سرسختی خودم بودم که ببینم واقعا این چی میگه. همینطوری به خاطر اینکه شوهر منه قبول نکنم. ولی به هر صورت انقدر از این پرسیدم، از این مریض، از اون مریض، بالاخره دیدم نه واقعا حقیقت داره و هیلینگ صحیحه و ایشون کارشونو میکردن دیگه.
Sometimes in the name of giving them a lift, I would take them and I would see really if they've healed or not. Not that I doubt the master.
تمام کسانی هم که می اومدن اینجا همه همون نظر منو داشتن. اولش زیاد اعتقادی نداشتن، ولی کم کم که خب میدیدن مریضاشون خوب میشه معتقد بودن. دکترها همینطور، دکترها که اصلا خیلی سخت‌تر و جدی‌تر بودن که اصلا مخالف بودن، ولی خب وقتی که می اومدن میدیدن که مریض معالجه شده، مریض خودشون بوده، مجبور بودن قبول بکنن دیگه. بالاخره ایشون با وجود اینکه خب این همه مریض داشت و این همه مراجعه کننده داشت، باز بعضیا به خصوص دکترها و بعضیا اعتقاد نداشتن، میگفتن تلقینه یا یه چیز، اعتقاد به این موضوع نداشت. ایشون تصمیم گرفت که حتما یه جوری از لحاظ علمی ثابت بکنه. ما مجبور شدیم اومدیم امریکا که ببینیم چه کار بکنیم. امریکا وقتی که رسیدیم مثل اینکه یه مجله نوشته بود که ما داریم میاییم، دیگه اینجا مریض زیاد شد برامون.
Within 3 months, he had managed to receive and to heal more than 500 patients. He became known as the man with the healing hands.
I met Master Parvarandeh through a close friend who called me one day and said, "There's an amazing healer in town, you must meet him." And I went over to the hotel where he was seeing people and just felt the energy around him to be amazing and powerful. I started bringing a few of my patients to see him. And one of the patients was Kathy, who was a young girl in her 20s, early 20s, who had just been diagnosed with kidney failure.
The first time I came to Parvarandeh, my kidneys, they were clinically dead. I had no kidney function.
After the first session with her, she just came back to life. Her color came back. She was happy again. It was amazing. And the other thing that was happening was that the dialysis wasn't working that well, so that even after the dialysis, her numbers were still high. So she was actually getting sicker and sicker.
I diagnosed her main problem was causing by some kind of antibiotic that she had taken for 4 years. And I said that this antibiotic has been the cause of your kidney failing. She could not believe me.
Master Parvarandeh is that he was able to perceive how her kidney failure came about. Without anyone telling him, he knew that the kidney failure occurred from having taken an antibiotic, which she had taken multiple times for urinary tract infections.
I've been coming to him for about a year now, and my creatinine has dropped to 10. I used to be very tired. All I did was sleep, and now I have plenty of energy to go to work, do whatever I have to do during the day. I am on the transplant list, but at this point, I don't think I will need one.
One of the things that I observed with Kathy while she was getting the healing is that as she was still, even though she was still getting the dialysis, her numbers were normalized, and her faith and her emotional tone had just improved so much better that she was much happier and much more able to cope and deal with her life. She did have a kidney transplant, but she did very well, and the kidney transplant was successful, and she's had no problems all of these years now, and it's been 15 years now that she's been doing extremely well. And I have to say that some of it has to do from just the overall healing that Master Parvarandeh had done on her.
Master Parvarandeh is a miracle worker because his work has worked on me.
Everybody, everyone in this nature has just a special file that all the necessary documents and all the details is written. Every disease that you have from your childhood, every kind of wealth or money that you can get, every action that you have done, all of them are recorded or are restored like a big file in the universal computer. Nowadays or today, we have computer. We give the information to the computer. And in the case of necessity, we can get it back. But there is a difference between this kind of computer and the universal computer. In this case, if you give just a wrong information to your computer, when it's necessary and you want to get the answer would be the same that you have given to that computer. But in the nature, it's not so that. Everything would be directly, everything would be correctly recorded to that huge computer without any mistake.
Ostad talked about sort of the great universal computer, and we understand that today because many years ago, Carl Jung, the great psychiatrist, talked about a universal unconsciousness, which we have in common with everybody.
در واقع ما یک اصل وحدت وجود و وحدت کائنات داریم که تمام ذرات این جهان هستی در واقع با هم در ارتباط هستند و اطلاعاتشون رو به هم دیگه منتقل میکنن و از وضع و کیفیت هم با اطلاع هستند.
Every atom in the universe is part of the collective consciousness, and every event that happens for every atom in the universe is immediately, without any time or space boundary, is transmitted to all the atoms and the molecules within the universe based on the law of the collective consciousness.
استاد پرونده در مورد لوح محفوظ صحبت می‌کردن. لوح محفوظ حالا دیگه اسم قدیمیشه، حالا ما بهش میتونیم بگیم که مثلا یه هارد دیسک کامپیوتر یا هر چی. که اطلاعات مربوط به تمام دنیا، تمام کائنات، از زمان ایجاد تا زمان از بین رفتن در اون محفوظه. زمان در اونجا مطرح نیست البته، یعنی این اطلاعات آنچه که بوده، آنچه که هست، آنچه که خواهد بود به روایت ما در اونجا محفوظ هست.
If somebody has a powerful receiver, he or she immediately can receive or can get or can touch the necessary informations that he or she needs.
استاد پرورنده کسی بودن که به این اجازه رو داشتند که به این پرونده ها دسترسی داشته باشن و دسترسی پیدا بکنن و بنابراین وقتی یه مریضی می اومد پیششون و صحبت میکرد و میگفتش که من مثلا مریضیم چی هست یا چه جوری هست، ایشون در آن واحد به اون پرونده دسترسی پیدا میکردن و میدونستن که اصلا علت مریضیش چی هست.
Everything is like a cell phone and there are satellites. Without the satellites no cell phone works. There is no connection. But I do have to have a cell phone to receive it. And his cell phone was amazing. So he was receiving all sorts of signals and he would disseminate.
Bungee cord snapped on my right eye and damaged the cornea, the retina, and also all the tubes which is releasing the eye pressure inside the eye. I had to add about more than 10 surgery. And the reason I saw Master Parvarandeh the first time, I was scheduled the next day to remove my eye because of the pain and all the medication and also all the surgeries was not very helpful. Therefore, I was so fortunate to be able to see him for the first time before my last surgery. He gave me the energy for the few minutes. The next day I went to the doctor. I asked the doctor, please re-examine my eye, check if there is any changes, which they did. And in order for them to not do the surgery, they start only just freezing the eye, which is a special procedure. And after that, fortunately, they did not remove my eye.
این چشم که کاملا بسته بود. الان ببینید چند درصد. الان 70% چشم بود.
I mentioned I'm seeing a healer in Los Angeles, and they told me, we can see the changes, and whatever you do, you have to continue, and we can continue the traditional Western medicine with the energy healing through the Master Parvarandeh. Therefore, they had to just find a way to keep the eye, and with the future technology, like any stem cell program, anything, I might be able to get a new retina and get cured. The most important things, I do not have any eye pain. I do not have any headaches. And also, I do not have to put any medication like any eye drops or using any type of medication for the headaches or other thing. Therefore, I think I'm cured.
The two really work well together because there are things that the medicine can do that the healers can't, but there are also things that the healers can do that the doctors can't.
God has created all kinds of energies for the benefit of human, like the energy of the sun, of the moon, and some planets and stars, like the energy that we can get from the sea, from the wind, from electricity, from laser, and from atoms. Besides that, we have some spiritual energy that we can get it from God or from the universe.
And I think it's that universal energy that we can't quite put a name on. It's not light, it's not sound, it's life force that a healer like Ustad is focusing to assist in healing.
این واسه خودش یک انرژی کائناتیه به نظر من که من اسمشو میذارم عشق الهی و از طریق در واقع درمانگران از کائنات گرفته میشه و منتقل میشه به بیمارها.
در طب هندی و طب چینی آدم میبینه که استادایی که این کار میکنه از خودشون انرژی میگن ما میدیم. و مجبورن ذخیره کنن و بعد بتونن مصرف کنن و حد مصرف هم دارن، یعنی از یه حدی بیشتر نمیتونن مصرف بکنن. ولی ایشون میگفتش که من از کائنات میگیرم این انرژی رو، من از خودم مصرف میشه، خودم خسته نمیشم. و میدیدیم روز 150 تا گاهی مریض میدیدن و آخر روز دیگران همه خسته بودن و ایشون سر حال بود و اصلا احساس خستگی نمیکرد.
از جهت این انرژی به نظر میاد که به نوعی ماهیت فیزیکی داشته باشه، چون که ما تو عکسایی که از استاد داریم و با دوربینای مخصوصی که گرفته شده، علاوه بر این که در اطراف شخص بیمار حاله وجود داره که رنگیه که دوربین گرفته، از دست استادم این حاله و این نور تابیده شده به سمت اون. پس این صرفاً به نظر نمیاد که یک انرژی مطلقاً معنوی باشه که قابل رویت نباشه و نشه ازش عکس گرفت و نشه دیدش.
For getting this kind of energy, we should have more attention to God.
He was constantly doing his prayer, and his prayer was in the name of merciful and benevolent God.
The energy that I'm using for healing and curing people has come through the Islamic mysticism.
As he recited that prayer, he was constantly connected to divine intelligence.
If we pay attention to God, certainly God will transfer the energy, the necessary energy to us. With this energy, a human would be able to treat and to cure most kind of unknown and known diseases.
That is really the secret of his healing. And he would mention, you do as I do, and okay, what is it that you do? I'm with God all the time, So he was with that source all the time. He was trying to make a connection. He never stopped. He always was trying to make that connection and maintain that connection and take it to a different level.
One of the patients that I referred to Master was Carrie. And Carrie was having an extremely difficult time. She was having difficulty walking. She was diagnosed with myasthenia.
The first time that I met Ostad, I received a very intense healing energy where I broke out into a sweat. And when I first walked into that hotel room, I was bent over like this. I could not straighten up. The doctors had been treating me for lupus and myasthenia gravis and other autoimmune problems. The first time that Ostad saw me, he said that I had, my problems were a result of my kidneys. He said that my kidneys, pancreas, and liver were not functioning in harmony. And the second time I went, I started remembering all the times in my life that I had had difficulty with my kidneys. My mother verified. And the doctors had tried traditional, conventional medicine where they tried giving me all kinds of drugs. As a matter of fact, I was on a combination of 26 different chemicals when I first came to see Ostad, and now I take 4.
After the first year of receiving healings and working very closely with the Master, my lupus and myasthenia gravis went into remission. And I started moving better. I was able to stand and walk.
I couldn't do this at all before, so this is a big deal.
Oh, you said that you don't need a crane driver to come here and pick you up and down.
No, I don't.
Her disease had the potential to become progressive to the point where it would make her totally bedridden, but it didn't. It never did.
I went from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane and I'm almost getting rid of the cane.
He really has brought me back to life. It's amazing. It's a miracle.
This is not a miracle. This is a science. But conventional medicine is not aware of this science. Miracle means that some action or something that nobody can do it. If somebody can overcome to the problem and can solve it and can do it, we call it miracle. For example, stepping on the moon is a miracle or a science? It's a science. But as in 100 years ago, they have no information about most of the sciences that we have, they were calling it a miracle. Because according to the knowledge of that time, if something is heavier than air, it cannot go to the sky. But nowadays we can see that they send 100 tons of materials to the sky or to the moon. At that time, they did not have the knowledge. And now they have the knowledge. Maybe after 50 years, the conventional medicine can get this way. That can reach to this kind of medicine, and they can cure and they can treat people.
یک سری بیماری هایی که ما از طریق در واقع بیرون دریافت میکنیم، مثل آنتی باکتریا، ویروس ها، نمیدونم میکروب های مختلف، که اینها وارد بدن ما میشن و یه عملی رو انجام میدن که ما رو دچار بیماری میکنن. و نوع دومش از نوع ذهن و روح و جسم ماست. در واقع ذهن و جسم و روح ما با همدیگه یکسان نمیشن، یکسانی در میان و اون موقع است که ما رو دچار عدم بالانس میکنن، عدم هماهنگی میکنن، دچار بیماری میشه.
And the healer assists in bringing that internal energy back into alignment with the higher energies, the higher frequencies of the divine energy.
آقا به دلیل ارتباطی که با اصولا جهان هستی دارند و اون رشته های اتصالی که در واقع بین ایشون و دنیای در واقع مادی و غیر مادی وجود داره، با سوال از تسبیح در واقع پاسخشون رو میگیرن. یعنی آقا با تسبیح فرض بفرمایید علت یک بیماری رو، یعنی اون علت اصلی که به وجود آورده این بیماری رو میتونن تشخیص بدن.
The pendulum was just like an antenna. It wasn't the source of the information. Rather, as he intuitively received the information, he would use the pendulum as a way to double confirm that the information he is receiving from divine intelligence is indeed most accurate.
ایشون این تسبیح رو همونطور که گفتم به عنوان وسیله تشخیصی به کار می‌بردن و من از همکاران دیگه شنیدم که در اطراف این تسبیح باز حاله‌های نورانی زیادی در جریان هستش که به استاد در تشخیص کمک می‌کنه.
آقای پرورنده وقتی داشتن انرژی میدادن یه صدایی شنیده میشد که یه مقداری در موارد مختلف متفاوت بود. این مربوط میشه به همون انرژی که داره صادر میشه. صداها خودشون هر کدوم انرژی دارن و برای بیماری‌های مختلف میشه از اون اصوات مختلف استفاده کرد.
If I can see the patient immediately I can say that what problem has he? If I can hear his voice, still I can say what kind of problem has he or has she. If I can know the name of the patient, that the full name of the patient, I can diagnose his disease. Hello? Okay, how are you? Please put your hand over your heart. Energy has some kind of collective consciousness. In another word, if someone calls me, I do not know him or her. I do not know the individual. But as the energy has its consciousness, the energy knows that. And the energy directly would go to the target and will reach to the target, and the target is the person who is talking to me. Are you feeling better? Okay.
همین که شما فکر کنید و تمرکز کنید که میخواید بیماری شخص درمان بشه، تمام موجودات کائنات، تمام انرژی‌های کائنات خودشون شعور دارن و مطابق اون فکر شما جریان پیدا میکنن و میرن به طرف اون موضعی که درد هست و باید درمان بشه.
When I met Master Parvarandeh, I was in great physical shape. You know, I thought that I was in excellent health.
I was perfectly maintained. In other words, whatever I could do medically, I maintained to the best of my ability and to the best that the medical profession had. I had genital herpes. I had excruciating canker sores in my mouth. I suffered from allergies, which I was able to kind of maintain. I was possessed by a despair that I can recall since I was 3 years old.
What he did is he in his treatment, he gave me a tremendous amount of energy when he would put his hands on my back or touch me and where I said I was having pain, or he went ahead and sensed and was already there prior to my even discussing anything, that there was something going on with me. And he said, I know exactly what you need. He gave me in this incredible amount of energy. I mean, it was like the man was vibrating when he put his hands on my back. And I was standing. And all of a sudden, it was like this huge black cloud. It was sticky, ugly. It felt like it was coming out of my throat. It felt like I was about to vomit. I let out a scream and a wail like an animal wounded. And it was like when it was done, all I can think of, it was done. This deep despair that I'd had came completely out of me.
Do you have any stress just now?
I did, and it was relieved. It left. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone.
Okay.
Thank you.
The healing that he gave me it was mentally, it was physically for sure, it was emotionally, and I didn't believe that emotions needed healing because I'm an actress and I'm supposed to invent, but he healed me from an emotion in which I could never rid myself of or I couldn't duplicate. It was just too dark for me to even imagine. Underneath all that is utter joy, energy, appreciation, positiveness. I look at the bright side of things now.
When you're sick, your body's intelligence is totally confused. Now, with a movement of the hand, he would remove the confusion, and the body started to process really nicely. You know, and the body knows how to heal itself.
God has made the body so that all the organs of the body are responsible for each other. How they are responsible for each other? Let's give you an example. When a bacteria, or we say a microbe, is attacking to a body and is penetrating to the body of a human, immediately the white blood cell will attack that bacteria and they will kill it. Okay, in this case, for every part of the body, for every organ of the body, another organs of the body are responsible to cure the body.
And he also believed that every organ in the body has a primary function, and when that organ is not capable to perform its work, there is a secondary organ in the body that is capable to assist the primary organ in order to do its work properly.
I had and I have many patients who have been afflicted to liver cirrhosis. When somebody is afflicted to liver cirrhosis, it means that most of the liver cells have been degenerated. After applying my energy, maybe in 5 times or 6 times, the patient would be completely cured. What has been happened here? The energy that I have applied to the liver has changed the cells, or in another word, has changed the dead cells to an alive cell. Or the liver which has been degenerated now is generated, or the new cells have been created. It means here that the energy is changed to material.
مواردی رو داشتیم که مورد مریض اومده کبد از بین رفته بوده، خیلی بافت جزئیش مونده بوده و وقتی انرژی گرفته این بافتا دوباره برگشته سر جاش و ساخته شده. در واقع اون مواد قبلی نبوده، این چیز جدیدی بوده که وسیله انرژی ساخته شده و تبدیل به ماده شده و کبد رو ساخته.
I am able to change material to energy. When I have my attention to that material, because a cyst is composed of milliards of cells. When I pay my attention to that cells, the cells would be changed to energy, and the energy will get out of the body. Most of my students can see the procedure of the operation that I do.
One incident I was totally lost, because he puts his hand on the tumor and he started to create noise, his famous noise that he made, and the tumor was gone, visible to the eye, but the tumor was gone.
And from the other hand, if I look to the organs and to the body of a patient, I can get the sickness of the different organs of the body, because if somebody is sick, for example, if somebody has a liver disease, the aura that comes out through the liver is dark, or it's brown. It means that the liver has some problem.
We are beings that have energy. We have energy moving through us. There's electricity moving up and down our nerves. There's electricity. We measure electricity in the heart, and we measure electricity in the brain. So we know that there's an energy field around us. And there's also something called the aura, which is an energy field that extends out a little bit further than the body, that some people can feel. And in some cases, we can even measure it. There's, very, very subtle machines that are able to measure these frequencies.
این حاله ها که اطراف شخص رو گرفتن در تشکیل بیماری‌ها نقش اساسی رو دارن. یعنی اگر کسی بخواد بیمار بشه، اول حالش بیمار میشه و بعد خودش بیمار میشه. بنابراین آقای پرونده میگفتن که برای درمان شخص حاله شخص رو میشه درست کرد.
For 4 weeks I shot Parvarandeh, healing various people. We have been doing research through the Aura camera. And I thought I'd show you the picture. This is the master up here. So you get to see what the Aura camera is. Aura camera is now a scientific way of measuring various things, and it is now a science. Normally, your aura takes 3 to 5 minutes to circle. When he gets a hold of your aura and starts healing, he puts it into a spin to where your aura goes to every 3 seconds. It's going that fast. And you would see a full-blown aura around in different planes and colors. Sometimes you couldn't even see the face, the amount of energy that was in there. And especially behind the person, you would see most of the time these entities coming out. And they'd be like boxes. One of the people he did, this lady, I took her before. You see her aura? This is before. When she came out, she stood before the camera. and I took her picture. And I looked at it and saw this. We learned that these were entities, or you would call illness, in the body coming out. He would literally go in there, grab your aura, and push out the poison. This is 5 minutes later. And then, a minute and a half later. You see that?
The importance of this, as Stephanie was just talking about, is that we have been able to photograph the spin. What has happened here is that as the spin on this particular patient begins, something is literally being lifted. And we know from history that we have had people who could see when someone was blessed or when a healing happened, that things literally lifted out of their aura.
و به دنبال این شخص بعد احساس بهبودی در جسم فیزیکی خودش میکرد.
One of the things that Master Parvarandeh would do would be the energized water or energized sugar to have the patient have something to take away with.
During the course of the time that we were studying him, he would take blessed sugar. So what I did was I took the pattern, first the picture of the plate empty. Here is the normal pattern of sugar that has not been energized. Here. This is before he touches it. The plate first, and now the sugar that hasn't been energized. And now, this is exactly 1 minute after he's energized it. Do you see that yellow?
He could imprint his intent for healing into sugar cubes and then use those to carry the healing into the body.
So I would bring some sugar cubes, take its picture, and they were blue, a light blue. And I would then hand him one sugar cube and say, I'd like this red. He would shoot in the energy red. Then I would then take that little sugar cube, put it on the hand plate, and then take its picture, and sure enough, it would be red. Then I would hand him another sugar cube, and I'd say, green, I want a forest green. I mean, I was getting specific. I was calling out colors.
Give the sugar candy to your daughter every 3 hours. Every 3 hours.
Every 3 hours.
Yeah, she should have one of these.
One of those every 3 hours.
Yeah, every 3 hours, except when she is sleeping. When she is sleeping, at that time, it's not necessary to wake her up. And don't forget, each time that you are going to give the sugar, she should repeat 3 times on the name of merciful God.
So in a way, that was his way of giving someone a prescription or medication or something that they could carry along with them that would carry that frequency that he then had put into their body, that they could still have a way of maintaining that.
Here is the aura pattern of an empty water bottle. I took the bottle first, empty. Now here is the normal aura pattern of bottled water before. Now here is what happens to the bottle water after the master goes and energizes it. And each day I take another picture and it still remains the same. Here is the aura of the first one that I saw. Do you see how powerful this is? This is really unbelievable. And then this is like 3 weeks later. Look at the aura still is there.
Ostad energized or put healing energy into water. It actually changed the infrared absorption of the water. So it's as if there's a physical change in the molecules in the water imprinted by his healing energy.
The aura in testing over the years, it remained the same energy and the same color over 15 years.
So it's just like medicine or presenting the divine energy in a format that is tangible, palpable. You can taste it. And just because, I say I healed someone, it doesn't mean I have done it. And with the master, it was different. There are medical records, physicians like Dr. Norm Shealy has done extensive research, as well as other physicians.
When Ostad had come to visit me in April of 1995, One of the things we wanted to do was to show what was happening both to the healer while he's sending healing and to me as a patient while I'm receiving healing from him. So each of us had an EEG monitoring of what we were like at rest, if you will, and then we recorded both Ostad's EEG while he's sending healing and me while I'm receiving healing from Ostad.
It's settling down. Yeah. It's starting to settle down now.
In, well, all over my brain practically, frontal lobes, central, parietal, occipital more than any, but temporal, it's all much more delta, I think we'll find actually. That's about, I mean, right there is about 2 cycles per second.
And at that time, my EEG showed a striking decrease into the deepest state of delta, 2 cycles per activity, in every part of my brain.
We have now connected an EEG to Ostad.
Good.
And I've had my baseline before. We will get Ostad's baseline now. And this just shows us his electrical activity at rest. We'll ask him to close his eyes in a moment, and that'll give us the baseline EEG, and we'll just get a run. Now, Ostad, if you can, without getting up, just send energy to me. And we'll just continue that until Kim tells us that she's got an appropriate amount. Interestingly, I got 2 twitches in my left triceps area, and I'm feeling a lot of warmth that sort of started in my chest and upper body and spreads down my arms and fingers and into my legs. And a little bit of what I call chi moving in my legs.
Ostad's EEG, on the other hand, at the time he's sending healing, actually increased the 10-cycle activity, but very high amplitude, which Dr. Elman Green has associated with the state of deepest detachment. What's important about this kind of thing is that ordinarily we don't change consciousness like that. We have a fairly steady beta state of awareness, that is 13 to 26 cycles per second. And we don't go into alpha while we're awake. We don't go ordinarily into delta for sure when we're interacting with people. So the ability to change the EEG associated with receiving healing or to change the EEG and sending healing means that there is a change in the focus of activity. The whole brain is altered in such a way that this is a state of consciousness associated with healing. So then we decided to experiment with his ability to change the electroencephalogram. So we set up 100 individuals who had no great medical problems necessarily. We just wanted to see what he could do to a normal brain.
And it was just a remote healing or curing. The patient was not before me, or the individuals were not before me. And I didn't accept to talk to them or to see them or they see me.
And the patient is in one room, 100 feet away, in actually a different building. Ostad's back here in the room with me. He had a photograph of the patient. He always wanted a photograph of the front and the back of the patient. And the technician and the patient know something's going to happen, but they don't know when.
They gave me the photos of patients and asked me to change the alpha activity or the beta activity of the brain.
And so we all time it with stopwatches. And I'll say to Ostad at some point then during the period, okay, Ostad, start the healing. This is one example of the 100 patients. This individual is now in a deep state of relaxation. You see his activity at about 2 cycles per second here, which is delta. I say to Ostad, okay, increase the 10-cycle activity. Within 3 to a maximum of 5 minutes, in every case, we have this striking increase in 10 cycle per activity. Now, the electroencephalogram is a reflection of the activity of your brain. Now, when people are excited, the brain gets very hyperactive and you're in what we call a beta state. which is 15 to 23 or more cycles per second. When you're at rest, if you're truly relaxed and not hyper, the EEG goes down somewhere usually in the alpha range, which is 8 to 12 cycles per second. Below that, you're going towards sleep. And so, in general, the alpha range, the 8 to 12, is considered the best state for deep relaxation and recovery. And so that's why I suggested the middle of that range, 10 cycle per second activity, as a goal, because that means he has helped that patient go into optimal deep relaxation.
We are, at a very special time in life right now where people are using conventional medicine, but they also are very open, and they're open to looking at other ways of healing. And we also have tools. We have tools now that allow us to measure the energies. There are people that measure auras. There are people that can measure changes when someone meditates. We can now, scientifically prove that some of these energies really change someone.
I am able to transfer my power to someone in order that individual be able to cure people.
آقای پرورنده شاگردای خودشون رو طبق ضوابط که خودشون میدونست انتخاب میکردن. هر کسی نمیتونست شاگرد ایشون باشه.
I have trained more than 20 individuals. Most of them are physicians, and between them there are some non-physicians that they can heal and they are able to cure patients.
ایشون معتقد بودن که در درجه اول شخص نباید انتظار مالی داشته باشه از این قضیه.
A real healer should have some qualification. Not to think always to make money of this way. I don't mean that a healer should not live, but if he wants to make some money from this way, he or she should have just an standard level of living.
لازمه کار این است که حتما یه سری فضایل اخلاقی رو در کارشون تقویت بکنن و داشته باشن. نمیتونه شخص تا خرخره مشروب بخوره و بگه من انرژی درمانی هم میکنم و این کارم انجام میکنم. نمیشه. انجام نمیشه. نمیتونه شخص آدم دروغگو مثلا رذلی باشه و بگه من این کارم انجام میکنم. نمیشه.
A real healer has not to eat too much, has not to sleep too much, has not to talk too much.
و باید این فرد کسی می بود که علاقمند به خدمت به مردم باشه.
The healer should always think about human and humanity. He has to spend more of his time for curing or healing people.
Grandmaster Hadi Parvarandeh left his physical body on October 13th, 1997 in Los Angeles and was buried in the city of Los Altos in Northern California. He was surrounded by his beloved wife of 40 years, Hadi Parvarandeh, along with his family members, devoted disciples and patients who came to pay their respect to his everlasting soul. Parvarandeh was a visionary, spiritual, and a true human being with extraordinary power.
زندگیشون خیلی ساده در هر صورت، یعنی از صبح تا شب این برادر من فقط وقت مریض. من شاهدم که حتی نماز میخوند خوابش میبود، یعنی نمیتونست انقدر خسته بود. عمرشو فقط صرف مریض و انرژی دادن و رسیدگی به مردم تا اونجایی که میتونست. و واقعا خاطر من به جز چیز خوب از این برادر هیچی، همش خوبی بود.
His energy came from God, that it came from a higher source. And I think that was one of the reasons why he felt that it was important for him to give it so freely. He felt that this was a gift that was given to him, and that he was able to provide this gift to others.
And his heart was so big, never asked for any money or any exchange. And his energy was there for anyone that needs it.
پذیرفته شده الان در کل دنیا که انسان فقط جسم فیزیکی نیست، یه جسم غیر مادی هم داره به نام روح که اون میتونه باعث خیلی مسائل در شخص بشه، از شفا گرفته تا مسائل دیگه، خوابای صادق و غیره. و الان این مسئله داره پیشرفت میکنه و آتیاش هم خیلی خوبه. به همین مراکز بسیار خوبی در جاهای مترقی ما میبینیم که اینو پذیرفتن، باهاش بها میدن.
We'll see more and more people relying on energy healing and using it as a tool. It's a tool just like an antibiotic or a prescription is. You know, it's a wonderful tool. And the nice thing about it is it doesn't have a lot of side effects.
آینده انرژی درمانی رو من از زبان آقای پرورنده بهتر بگم. ایشون گفتن در 50 سال آینده درمان اصلی رو در دنیا انرژی درمانی تشکیل خواهد داد.
وظیفه دارن شاگردان ایشون که شاگردان بیشتری رو تربیت بکنن و به جامعه عرضه بکنن که این فراگیر بشه.
200 years ago they could not cure a migraine, a chronic sinusitis, a hepatitis, an asthma, and some kind of allergy. After 200 years, still they cannot cure this kind of diseases. But with energy healing, we can cure most of unknown diseases without any expense, without using any kind of medicine. Maybe after 50 years, the conventional medicine can get this way, that can reach to this kind of medicine, and they can cure and they can treat people.